Welcome to Corinne's Picks. I am your guest host, Katori Walker, and it is my pleasure to have with us today the Westchester Poet Laureate and artist, Phylisha Villanueva.
Thank you so much, Mama Katori. I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Well, Phylisha, we've known each other for so many years, and I can't tell you how happy I am and proud of you that you have reached this pinnacle in your life. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I really enjoy community arts development, and I think that that's something that we both share, and I love to share that with you. I am a co-founder of the Yonkers Writing Group, and we've been doing a lot of different partnerships that I'm really excited about recently. I also am the coordinator for the Yonkers Future Stars Talent Competition, and that's so close to my heart because it's like a 18, year annual thing. That's just such a big part of youth culture in Yonkers, where I'm from. And I'm also I'm looking forward to being a professor after I graduate
Ooh,
with
yes.
my MFA in St. Francis College. And I think one more thing I'd like to really highlight about myself is that I am a member of the Jazz and Poetry Choir Collective. So I'm in a jazz and poetry band. And for the past maybe like 13 years now. And
Wait.
I'm
How
really
old are
proud of
you?
that.
13 years you've been in this band? When did you start? When you were like 5?
Yeah, I started like kind of like right out of high school, and at the time I didn't realize that I was in something so special until a little bit later on. But it's a big part of like my artistic writing journey is
Well,
being a part of this band.
we're going to talk a little bit about that. In fact, a whole lot about that. But I just do have a question I wanted to ask you. As being Westchester County Poet Laureate, I love saying that.
Me
What is the
too.
most interesting thing that you've experienced?
I have three things. But you said most interesting.
Most interesting.
Okay. um, Early on, in maybe like early April, National Poetry Month, I got invited to go to a reading. So there's this program in Mamaroneck. I learned about all these pockets of poetry that's all over the county that I didn't know before, and that's been operating poetry public programming for like one place 30 something years, another place 20 something years, but this place specifically had 50 students in a room that all spent time writing poetry with their teachers in collaboration with the Village Arts Council.
Wow.
And I heard 50 young poets' poems that day. And that was the first time I addressed um, young poets and gave them words of encouragement, cried, laughed, smiled. Their poems were so amazing. And parents came up to me and said, thank you for your words. That was the first, and that was very affirming.
Wow.
And it was so beautiful. It also helped with a momentum for the rest of that month and the months that came after.
That's amazing. I'm so glad that you had that experience and you were a great, powerful influence over our youth. And I want to touch now on the fact we have some pictures here that we're going to show. I think it's wonderful how you've combined your art and poetry together. I would like to talk a little bit about that as we look at some of your artwork right now.
Oh, okay. This is exciting.
So the first piece here, oh, that's beautiful. That's vibrant. It's flowing. There's tons of energy there. Tell us, what were you thinking when you did this piece, and how does poetry tie into it?
Right. So this piece is called The Renaissance Man.
Mm.
Um, and it's inspired by my grandfather, my grandfather's passing. And I think that it's the poetry of place poetry. Um, there's a lot of places in this piece, places that he's been to, things he's experienced, um, maybe even some stories in here, and storytelling. It's the original poetry, if not poetry in its totality.
Beautiful, beautiful. May I have the next? Okay. Tell us about this piece here, and you're in it. And you know what? There's different types of poetry I love, and one of the types of poetry that I love is blackout poetry, or concrete poetry using words,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
So tell us, it looks like you have a lot of things going on in this piece. Tell us about that.
Definitely. So this piece, like the other one previously, these are like instant emotions, energy that has to be moved through my body. I'm feeling things deeply, and I don't have time to process, don't know how to process. And so I go to, you know, the colors and the pens and to the paper. So this piece is a clipping. Someone who knew me as a younger a younger person, hosting open mics in Blue Door Art Center in Yonkers. Um, she wrote me on LinkedIn and said, "I saw you in the newspaper. Would you like me to send you a clipping?" And
Wow.
there's I could imagine that there was a time where that was popular conversation. That was a thing. Um, collecting clippings. There's not a lot of people around me that speak like that. And so I felt important. I felt like this is something that someone might do if they thought that this thing needed to be preserved and saved and
Yeah, like what grandmas do.
yes,
Yeah.
or that this community, this person in my community was proud of me, maybe following up on things that I'm doing. So um, she mailed me a clipping, and then this was another clipping that someone gave to me. And originally, I wanted to celebrate my laureateship um, by saving this clipping, but I also felt like there was so much more I wanted to say. There's so much more that needed to be said that was actually on this clipping. And so, a type of poetry that I used here is called erasure. And erasure is really kind of like the same thing as blackout poetry, where you use an original text and you just cut out the words and phrases and images that you're not using, and you circle what you are using. And a lot of poets will just kind of like black out the words, but I chose to do some art in the back because I wanted it to look like a forest or flowers. And the title would probably be something like "Give Me My Flowers,"
Mm.
um, because I worked so hard to get here,
Yes, you
and
did.
um, it's still really dreamy for me. So that's the way I chose to save this clipping.
I love it. And I'm noticing like a pattern. So you use a lot of line work that flows and moves in different ways. How is that related to you in the flowing and the movement in your life?
Yes, um, like poetry, like art, and what I'm learning, like jazz, is very lot of improv, a lot of pivoting, and a lot of forgiveness. And I think that that's what my art kind of represents to myself.
Okay.
Is I never really know what I'm going to create. I just kind of allow myself to be moved by the artistic creative spirit. And if something, my daughter had a sneeze.
Okay.
That means I'm telling the truth.
Yes.
So if my daughter was to jump on my bed or my workspace or where I'm at, and a line goes wild across the page, in that moment, I choose to allow it to be exactly what needed to happen in that moment. And the way I treat my art is the way I move through my life.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Next picture. Wow. Tell us about this piece.
Sure. So this is one of my favorite pieces. I constantly revisit this piece and I will reinvent it when I feel like I need to. More so with the colors. So the original was black and white. I really liked the accessibility to pen and paper. So at a time where I needed to create art to be okay, the only thing that was around me was usually a pen and maybe some computer paper. And then I decided I wanted to keep on leaning into this artistic need to express. And so this will be like my first digital art where I scanned the black and white and then I ran it through an app and I changed the color and I made certain parts brighter and certain parts darker and just with some editing.
Okay.
And this piece is called Pretty Girl Special. And this piece is connected to poetry directly because my first publication is called Pretty Girl Special. And Pretty Girl Special is a book that I wrote to help myself move past a abusive relationship that I was in. And I think this piece almost has a mask in there. And like I said, these things just, I surprise myself when I create art. And I didn't realize that, you know, a warrior or a mask would show up, you know, or a fire child, you know, would show up, or all of these images that's in this piece. But this is what Pretty Girl Special is.
Okay. So we're going to take a little break and we'll be right back. We're going to a PSA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome back. I am Katori Walker, and I am here with our wonderful guest, Westchester Poet Laureate Phylisha Villanueva. Yes. And so Phylisha is now going to read a poem for us. I think that we are very honored to have her take a few seconds to do that. So you're getting a taste of why she is the Poet Laureate for Westchester County.
The stage, the church, and the trail are all the same to me. Praise my homebody into a deep breath, a necessary sigh. Supergirl pose, tree pose, and a cup of tea or a glass of wine depending on the time. Praise the women who tell our stories. The words they found in blood and passed down in the middle of a great cry. Start a writing group in a vegetable garden. Be massive like vines or water. Praises to the highest. Oh, what a merciful, merciful, merciful God. Oh, what a wonderful, 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 wonderful God. What kind of ancestor do I want to be? What will they call on me for? Praise the movement forward, the inner knowing. What more can be done with this breath? Praise the run, the release, and the answered prayer, the details in the trees and the freedom in between. Praise the resilience, ankles, the faith in ground without pavement. Poem.
Ooh, yes, wonderful, wonderful. Yes, yes, yes. So
Thank you.
tell me, when you write like that, where does that poem leave you?
The poem leaves me in joy and abundance, in prayer, in joy. So much joy.
And what message do you want people to get from what you just read?
To have a delusional amount of faith.
Okay. All right. So let's go to our next picture. Thank you very much.
Looks beautiful.
I love this piece. I really do. I love all of your work. But this piece I really, really enjoy. Talk to me about this.
I think that I really enjoy reading. I love reading, and I love words and just what words can do. And a lot of my pieces have something with literature, something with words. This piece, excuse me, is a book that I read, and I read it because I knew I wanted to use it for my art, but I didn't want to disrespect the book like that. So I think the book is called The Art of Love. And so I wanted to use it as a backdrop. This image is supposed to be kind of alluding to a little bit of my reggae culture. My parents come from Belize, so I wanted to use some greens and yellows and reds, and I wanted the woman in this picture to feel beautiful, to feel worthy, to feel complete, to feel vulnerable, and I wanted this person to embody the art of love.
And you know what? This sounds like you. Coming from an abusive relationship. This sounds like the person that you wanted to be during that time, but wasn't allowed to be that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, next, please. Okay. We'll talk about this piece. I saw this piece. I said, okay, I think there's a nice story with this.
Yeah, so this piece, I think I named Frida Me, but I wanted, if people said it fast, it probably sounded like Frida Me. And to say Frida Me is kind of like, you should be afraid of me.
Mm.
And I did that because I wanted to talk, like, that it's powerful, even if anyone was to document their life, document their stories. I think that's really important for us to be able to leave something behind. We talk about legacy, stories, journals, our legacy. And I really do love Frida's story and her resilience story, and her needing to create art. I mean, you know, would Frida have survived if it wasn't for making art? You know, and I think that's a really part of her healing and her existence. And I resonate with that. And I love tea. And that's a book, a journal that I write to my daughter. Every entry in that book starts with "Dear Paisley."
Wow. I'm getting like chills just looking at this piece now that I even understand it more. I had like a whole different interpretation in my mind when I looked at that. And now the way you're saying it, it's like it's even deeper for me. So thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to our next. Okay. Woo. Now, how big is this piece?
Bigger than 16
By 20?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, because it
could-
looks, you know, the way the movement is there, it looks gigantic. Like
Yeah.
it looks like the size of a wall. It's so powerful. I love, again, I see that movement there. Explain to me what this piece means to you.
So this piece is really interesting. This piece was um, really inner healing work. When I was working on this piece, I was looking at the mirror the whole time on my kitchen floor, and I just kind of continued to be my own cheerleader. Like I literally created a body double. I've been learning more about body doubling as I've been navigating my life. But in this moment, I just knew that I wanted to be encouraged. I wanted to feel sexy. I wanted to feel loved. And I wanted to be that person for myself. So I would talk to myself in the mirror while making this piece. That sounds so loony.
Not at all.
And this was another book that was about love. And this book is called, it's a haiku, just like the other piece that I did that used book pages in the back. They're both named after haikus, and these haikus are in on my second publication. So the title of this one is called I Need Something, it's a haiku. I need something that flows like water. Can you make me flow like water? And it does have a couple of double meanings in there. And but it's all alluding to flow, to safety, to improv, flexibility, forgiveness. And this piece, I think, speaks to that. And I wanted it to look like swirls in water.
Very nice. Okay, next piece. Ooh.
Exciting. So this is my second publication, Situationships and Things. I wanted to talk about lust and love and confusion and relationships. And I wanted it to be a sexy roller coaster.
Ooh, okay. Sexy roller coaster. All right.
And I use a lot of form in this book.
Okay.
So when we talk about art,
Mhm.
I told myself I do a lot of community arts development. I'm in schools. I work with young people all the time.
Correct.
And should they Google me and find this sexy book and decide to read it, I wanted them to learn a lot of poetry form while they experience how you can lend form to emotion.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm so happy that you're here with us. I just want you to kind of make an announcement of some of the places you'll be next. And I'm going to do a plug. You will be at Yonkers Comic-Con. That will happen at the Yonkers Public Library on October 5th. So I want everybody to make sure you save that date and come down, because we're going to have a lot of different things happening. And one of the things that's happening is that we don't know the poem yet, but Philly will be performing on that day, right?
Yes, I'm so excited.
Now tell us, we have just a few seconds left. Tell us a little bit about what you are going to be doing.
Well, I would really love for anyone who is watching to please follow me on Instagram, so that way you'll be able to see everything I'm doing in real time and where I'll be at week for week. But I will be hosting an open mic this month. I'll also be performing at a fashion show this month. Every
Yonkers Fashion Week.
Yonkers Fashion Week.
Yes.
And I'll be having some writing workshops.
Okay. All right. So there you have it. Follow Philly. Follow Philly. And she's amazing. She does so many other things, jewelry, all kinds of things. She is amazing. So please follow her. And we look forward to getting to know you better, and all the things that you're doing for the community and beyond is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. Okay, I am Katori Walker, and it has been a pleasure. Please come back and watch Corinne Picks.